Hey guys, I am back with Sector 3 and Little Man. We're going to go over the feats as usual and show you some gameplay from this sector. It's pretty straightforward. There are a couple ones that are probably going to be a little bit annoying for people, but overall it's pretty straightforward to get through this sector, especially if you have a smaller account and you think you can't beat Riva, who is the boss. I'll give you a little bit of hopefully helpful information in case you feel like you can't get through it. You will probably surprise yourself with how you can. But let's have a look at everything. Before we hop into the feats, though, I do want to thank my patrons. I super appreciate your support. It is unbelievable. And yeah, so thank you so much. And let's look at these feats. So, like I said, we're in Sector 3, and it is okay. A couple of these we're going to be able to double dip on, which is fantastic. Geos is kind of the only one that you really sort of can't. But we have returned. You have to gain this 60 times. You can only do this with GLs Malgus. And on top of that, you can only do it with his lead, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's when doubt expires, which is what his lead specifies. When you get we have returned. So obviously you're going to want to use GLs Malgus to get this. Again, he is the only character that can get this feat done. So if you don't have him, you're unfortunately out of luck with that one. Defeating 50 enemies with Geonosians, pretty straightforward in terms of that. Winning at least 14 battles with a full squad of Galactic Republic characters. So this is great because you can double dip on this with your Clone Trooper feat from the Globals if you're working on that. And just keep in mind that Omega is not a Galactic Republic unit. So even though she's tagged as a Clone Trooper, she's not Galactic Republic, so you can't take a full Bad Batch squad in. Okay, and then attempt to inflict Stagger 60 times. Again, pretty straightforward. And you'll be able to double dip on that with your We Have Returned feat, if you so choose. Okay, so let's have a look at the gameplay as usual. And yeah, we'll just go through the sector. All right, so let's start with a pretty straightforward feat, Geonosian kills. So this one's probably going to be a little tedious for some people, and I've got a couple of battles to show you. So first is a full Geonosian squad against a Phoenix squad. Phoenix has no Sabine. I do have Volatile Accelerator and Amplify Agony equipped. As usual, there's 3 Amplify Agony on here. So I am able to get a couple of kills with my Geos with this lineup. They are Gear 12. The only relict one is the Brood Alpha. However, the dots do steal some of the kills from the Volatile Accelerator disc. So you want to keep that in mind if you're doing this. So it literally is, I got 2 kills literally. At least the second time I did it. The next squad is a little bit, I don't want to say it's like a cheese, but you can make this work in your favor. You're going to take a Traya lead with a tank. I like Jedi Master Luke, Watt, and then the 2 characters that you want to get kills. So I took the Brood Alpha and the Spy. You don't necessarily have to take the Brood Alpha. You probably take Soldier. And the idea here is you go against a Geonosian squad or a squad that attacks out of turn, and Traya lead essentially kills them off on their own. They do, a couple of them do die to the dots as well from the Volatile Accelerator disc here, so you probably would want to take that off to really make use of it. You can still use the Amplify Agony discs. That doesn't steal your kills, so you could still do that to make sure you're able to whittle them down health-wise, and then get a couple of kills in with your Geos. Okay, and then the next one I had the most luck with was actually against this Dooku squad. And I took my full Geo squad with it, still with Volatile Accelerator and Amplify Agony. But essentially it's just a Dooku Separatist squad, and they do really well. The thing that I like about this squad is that it does have Watt on it, so if he does happen to revive someone, you could kill them again, theoretically, if you save him for the end. Newt has to be killed twice, so you're able to get a kill in that way. I did choose to kill Watt because he was going to take a turn and die to the dots, so I figured I might as well get the kill anyway. But if he revives, that's more kills in your book that way. Okay, so moving on, we also need to get 14 wins with a full Galactic Republic squad. So the first squad I like to use, obviously you can use Jedi Master Kenobi if you have him, and Kat if you don't. I also really like using Padme and just using Galactic Republic characters that I'm not necessarily using elsewhere. So I like to use Yoda, Shock, a tank, and C-3PO, and it works pretty nicely against this Rex clones team. And basically, you just have to win. There's no other double dip here, unfortunately. But it is an option if you're trying to manage the stamina on your squads that you can use, and you're able to get a win that way. So, like I said, Padme is good. Jedi Master Kenobi is good. But what I would try to do, if you can, is to double dip with the global feat with your clone trooper wins and use a clone squad, which I will show you here. Again, just remember Omega is not Galactic Republic, so you can't use her even though she's a clone trooper. And I did go with a 501st team with Bad Batch Echo as the 5th. I've also done Rex lead with Bad Batch as the other 4, and both work really well. Again, Volatile Accelerator, Amplify Agony Discs for both of these fights, for Padme and the clones. And at least with the clones, you're able to double dip and get a win towards your global feat as well. Okay, so now we're going to look at Stagger. You can see I have literally one on here. But the first team I'll show you, again, not really a double dip, but you can go in with an Empire squad with Palpatine lead and Mara Jade. Again, Volatile Accelerator, Amplify Agony Discs, and I just took Thrawn to pass turn meter if possible, and a couple of tanks. Essentially, you're just going to gain a lot of turn meter once you take a turn here from the buffs, but you want to do Mara's AoE since she has the Stagger, and then you just kind of keep taking turns. So you will get 5 Staggers at least with her AoE, assuming you get to go before anyone dies, and that is in your books that way. You can, though, double dip on this feat with the We Have Returned feat. So if you are doing this, you're going to want your Malgus lead, and Fallen Bastilla is your character here that's going to get you your Stagger. I am taking a full Sith squad because I do want to work on getting We Have Returned. You need to gain that 60 times. So you want to have Sith allies here to gain it as many times as possible, because only Sith allies can gain it. Otherwise, I would try to double dip with like Mara here, which again you can do. Just keep in mind that she won't gain We Have Returned. But you're getting your Stagger from Fallen Bastilla, and We Have Returned from Malgus lead, obviously, and you're able to use that. So that's just against AJGR team, but I do want to show you the same squad against this Dooku team. And the reason why I want to show you it against this team is there's a couple of characters here that this works really nicely with. Obviously, there is a B1 on the squad, Newt and Jango. So Newt and Jango, you have to kill them twice because they're going to revive, and the B1 is losing stacks when you kill it. And each time it counts as We Have Returned being dispelled, or doubt being removed or dispelled and turning into We Have Returned. So you actually gain more by going against these characters because you're killing them more than once. And that one fight you see got me 15 We Have Returned. So I would definitely recommend going in against something like that with a revive. Okay, so let's have a look at the mini boss. So it is a Starkiller team, and you need to win with 5 surviving. You can go in with a stereotypical clone team if you want to double dip on the globals, but I didn't want to risk 5 sacrificing himself for the 501st members. So I chose to go in with the Bam Cheese squad here, just to make sure he wasn't going to sacrifice. And then that way, we're basically guaranteeing as much as we can that we will keep him alive. Again, Volatile Accelerator and Amplify Agony, and it is over. 5s is alive, and you get both feats in one because there's no Galactic Legends. Okay, so let's look at the boss. So I'm going to show you 2 battles here because I made a mistake. Okay, so you need to win without using a Galactic Legend on your team on this fight, and you also need to win with 5 Victors. And Victors is this buff that you get where you're essentially fighting one-on-one in this fight. It's one character versus one character. And so this fight here, I did take gas, and that is my mistake. It tells you in the modifier, if you read it, that gas should not be used. You also can't use summons or characters that flee. So think like Mon Mothma or C-3PO or Hoda. And essentially what happens is you just fight one-on-one. So you want to solo you want characters that can solo here. And they get these blue buffs over top of them when this happens, and they're able to take their turns, and they can only target the character that has a blue buff on them as well. And as long as you defeat the character, you now become a victor. So if you are a victor 5 times, so if each of your characters wins, you get 5 victors and you get to carry on. Obviously, I used gas, so that was my downfall here. And I won with just no Galactic Legends. So I am going to go in again with the same squad and add in Darth Revan here. But I'm going to slow this one down because I want to talk a little bit about the discs that I used and kind of the idea of how you're going to get through this if you think you can't get through Reva. So I am using Volatile Accelerator and Amplify Agony, but more importantly, I'm actually using Voluntary Vanguard. You can see it on Malik there that he's marked. And the reason why this is important is the blue buff right now above Vader, it's Vader's turn. So Seventh Sister should have been attacking Vader, and she wasn't. She was attacking Malik because he's marked. The reason why this is important is because they can only damage the character that has the duelist buff, so that white triangle with the blue background. And when they try to hit the character that's marked, they don't do any damage. So if you are concerned about not being able to get through this, it is a way that you can kind of guarantee your characters are going to get through. It does put the marked on your strongest character, so remember that. And it will, it's kind of good, in my opinion, if you can have it not be your leader. If it is your leader, that means your leader is going to get attacked by Reva at the end, and she will probably kill them, so you most likely won't 3-star the node. So you want to keep that in mind. If you don't care about 3-starring the node and you just want to get through it, by all means, have at it. Go do it as you please. But if you do want a 3-star, I would try to make it so that the character that gets marked from the Voluntary Vanguard disc is not your leader. The other thing you want to keep in mind, if you are wanting to get through this node and just get through it and you don't really care, you actually only need to get through 3 of the characters in order to win. And by that I mean you can have Reva kill your leader at the end and have her be the last one standing. But if you have 3 of your squad members who have won their duel, so their one-on-one fight, you are still considered victorious in this, and you will still win the match, the boss matchup, and you will be able to progress through to Sector 4. So again, if you are concerned at all about Reva wrecking you or kind of being a roadblock through your conquest here, I wouldn't stress on it too much. I would just try to find that Voluntary Vanguard disc, or put a character in your leadership slot that you know she's going to attack, and if she kills them, it's fine because your other characters are in the stronger positions. So again, there's the 5 victors feat, and that's that for Reva. All right, so that is Sector 3. Pretty straightforward. I absolutely love the fact that you can get through the boss without having to necessarily beat the boss. So if you are intimidated by the fact that it's Reva, you can get through it, which is great because if you're a smaller account and you're just trying to plug away at what you can get through the boss, and continue picking up your discs if you have to come back and clean up any feats later on because you don't have the proper discs for them yet or anything like that. And that is pretty much it for Sector 3. I will be back hopefully tomorrow for Sector 4, provided everyone cooperates. And we are more than halfway through this conquest in terms of sectors, and we still have about a week and a half left in terms of time to get this done. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow.